Place 10 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Graveyard Keeper, which makes a lot of bold choices, replacing the friendly, relaxing atmosphere of typical life sims with a more goal-directed structure in a more cynical setting. While I found its pace tedious at times and would have preferred more focus on the grave tending mechanics, more patient players will find a lot to like in its wealth of well-developed diversions, fantastic art and music, and pitch-black comedic aesthetic. Graveyard Keeper is an engaging and rewarding farming sim weighed down by pacing and performance issues. The retro-style visuals complement its contained open world and influences from old-school Zelda games that shine through just as much as that of Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley. Beside its evident qualities in terms of immersion, due to a funny, unique and charming context, Graveyard Keeper lacks variety and is, sometimes, too much based on farming system. Place 9 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Forager, which is an 8-bit inspired open-world crafting and exploration idle game that will surely capture the hearts of both fans and non-fans of the genre. It is a quirky, relaxing game that is dripping with charm. A simple premise expanded on in meaningful and tangible ways creates a title that is not only delicious fun, but also thoroughly addictive. Despite its lack of difficulty, our time with Forager was enjoyable to the very end. For those seeking out a new chill crafting game, Forager is worth your while. Forager is a lovely surprise, its simple appearance disguising a huge amount of content packed under the surface. Rarely has crafting been as enjoyable and streamlined, whilst the sheer range of things to do means that you never have to feel bored. You're always working towards something whilst the dungeons are well designed and feature classic puzzles, which makes for a refreshing change of pace from the relentless acquisition. All in all, Forager is a gem and well deserves to dig its way under your skin. Place 8 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Oxygen Not Included, which is a challenging, complex survival building game for creative tinkerers and fans of automatization. It is a space colony simulation game. Manage your colonists and help them dig, build and maintain a subterranean asteroid base. It is a funny, clever, and extremely complex mix of management simulator and survival game that manages to make abject failure almost as entertaining as success. This game is very addictive. The first time is the worst, but you will get better fast. Once you learn the basics, the game starts to open up. You have to work with what you have, and it is a challenge. You would be amazed how much you learn in actual real-world science as well. With the game having a decent swell of community support and the developers just as keen to keep improving, Oxygen Not Included appears to be going onwards and upwards. Place 7 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Prison Architect, which is an entertaining, comprehensive and accessible simulator of prison complex management. If you find this genre at least a little bit interesting, don't hesitate buying it. It is a surprisingly complex and enjoyable simulation of a correctional facility. In this game you will plan, build, fail, sell and try again. Prison Architect is a solid, engaging game with enormous number of options, presented in a well-thought-out way. Managing a virtual prison has never been so enjoyable. Although it is weighed down by some questionable development choices, Prison Architect is a breakout success due to its sandbox alone. It has workshop integration with an active modding community. There is a lot of micromanagement, so if you're the kind of person that hates to think, can't oil your brain because it hurts, well then you should pass. It's not overly complicated, but the game doesn't hold your hand starting out. Place 6 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to my time at Porsche, which takes a lot of positive notes from popular farming simulators like Stardew Valley and Minecraft and puts its own creative spin on things. It might seem just like any other farming sim at first glance, but the more you play the more you'll discover its unique story and engaging gameplay elements. Start a new life in the enchanting town of Porsche. Restore your workshop to its former glory, grow crops, raise animals, befriend the town's quirky inhabitants, and uncover the mysteries this charming post-apocalyptic land has forgotten. Combine hunting, mining, building and romancing with a fascinating setting and an involved narrative, and it worked. Your time at Porsche is more than a worthy alternative to Stardew Valley, and there's a lot to love here. If you're a fan of the farm sim RPG, you'll feel right at home in Porsche. It's a very solid concept built on unsteady ground. Place 5 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Frostpunk, which is a city builder full of hard work and tough moments, but it's also a tale about hope. In a completely frozen world, people develop steam-powered technology to oppose the overwhelming cold. Society in its current form becomes ineffective, and it has to change in order to survive. A video game about people living in the hardest imaginable conditions and our travel to make their existences a sustainable project. It is nice looking and highly original, but it is too simplistic for a city building sim and too shallow to grip you with emotional hooks. Overall, Frostpunk is an incredible survival city builder that is successful in both delivering an optimal gameplay and empowering it with a believable and scary atmosphere, coupled with an immersive storyline. Frostpunk is definitely one of the most engaging simulation games around, and one that deserves to be experienced. Place 4 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Rimworld, which is a new standard in survival and strategy simulation games and has emerged from early access with grace. Everything is about stories. Rimworld sets you up for an ever-changing game in which only your engagement remains the same, potentially for hundreds of hours. And when you're done with the vanilla version of Rimworld, there are thousands of mods that enhance or change the game in such a way that it is all fresh again. This strategy game offers survival and business simulation in one package. With the player learning from trial and error, numerous unpredictable events bring additional challenges to solve while enriching the story at the same time. It is a satisfying colony building sandbox with a lot of replayability that suffers from a lack of polish in the UI. A great aesthetic and quirky sci-fi take on this genre mean there is a lot to like here, it just takes a little digging to get there. Overall, it is a successful mixture of strategy, tower defense, survival sandbox and sci-fi story generator, with a guaranteed high replay value.
That was when Greg broke down and ran, naked, into a lake.
Yeah, well, let's not forget when Nelson hung out with his llama all day instead of building solar panels.
We all need downtime, Greg.
Despite everything, there was progress.
We began work on a ship to set us free.
But there will be no escape today. This is my base.
This is my sanctuary.
This is my palace.
This is our colony.
Place 3 of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Factorial, which is a construction and management simulation game. It is a resource management, factory simulation and strategy game. The goal is to build up plants that automatically take resources and make products, which takes the burden off you. The end game is launching a rocket into space, but there's a whole lot you need to do in order to get there. However you approach Factorial, and there are a number of ways you can start your adventure, you'll undoubtedly be constructing lines of manufacturing automation. Here's a basic example of a product being created. Iron ore is smelted into iron plates, which is then turned into cogs that are then combined with another iron plate to create a conveyor belt. You can just build non-stop until the game engine or your computer can't handle it anymore. Factorio is an early access game on Steam done right, thanks to active development, a modding scene and highly addictive gameplay. It's just fantastic to sit back after 20 hours on a single playthrough and gaze at the marvel of your creation. There are no issues with the gameplay, and the game engine is excellent at handling even the most complex factory setups. That said, if you're not a fan of grinding elements, management simulation games or logic-based calculations and planning, you should avoid Factorio. Otherwise, this is a great simulation game with tower defense elements, which can consume hours of your time trying to optimize your factory. The second place of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is an absolutely charming little gem about forgetting all your worries and relaxing on a farm. Don't start this game if you value relationships, your job, your social life, and having free time. Stardew Valley will take all of that away from you, but it's okay because it's a great game. It's a trip to the countryside with incredibly motivating game mechanics. Once you're there, you won't come back very soon. With so many interconnected systems, from the farm simulation to simple combat and cooking to crafting, and each driving the others forward in some way, it's a deeper and more complex game than you'd expect after the first day on the farm. There's plenty to do while you wait to uncover more of the valley's secrets, and the prospect of filling your days with new adventures or just a better harvest is too enticing to pass up. Far more than just a farming game, this one-man labor of love is filled with seemingly endless content and heart. Stardew Valley is an absolutely charming little gem about forgetting all your worries and relaxing on a farm. The first place of the best sandbox and simulation games goes to Minecraft. It is a masterpiece and a game that you must try. Minecraft stands as a remarkable achievement. Not only offers this game a well-rounded gaming experience, but provide also a chance for players to experiment, explore freely and reshape their environment to an almost ludicrous level. If you own a computer and haven't given Minecraft a try, you're missing one of the most unique experiences of this generation. The game involves players creating and destroying various types of blocks in a three-dimensional environment. The player takes an avatar that can destroy or create blocks, forming fantastic structures, creations and artwork across the various multiplayer servers in multiple game modes. A must-play title, as much a part of video gaming as it is anything else.